Actually, I want to share something with you that's a little bit private. Um, I'm religious that way that I understand a lot of different religion. I think religion is interesting as a historical and also like morally. I think it's interesting. I think it's society political interesting in a way. I think there's a lot from religion that's more carrying culture and advice, like morally and stuff like that. And you always have to think like, why would they talk about women like that at that time? But that time was without conception, without social help. So you have to frame this kind of right. But anyhow, um, I think I grew up believing in God. I think I'm raised Christian, right? And after my son was stolen and my career is being troubled by crimes, basically, I sometimes like rage against God. Not that I didn't lose my trust. It was more like an angry accusation, something like, why are you? I've been dead sometimes. Sounds strange. But I've been close to dying or dying slow or whatever. And last time in 2012, I was left to die and I survived. And after that, they say that if you survive, that you might question why didn't I die, kind of thing. There's a lot of traumatizing thing that leaves you in another kind of question than normal people. For example, why didn't I die? Why was it me dying and not? I mean, why did he die when I didn't die? And a lot of things. So sometimes I argued about this or question, and I think I at one time got a really good advice, and that goes like this. I was like, I'm always working in a sort of light. If don't misunderstand, it's not a light political. It's just a way of looking at things. Enlightenment is called, right? That means that I'm looking at you with a sort of understanding. I wouldn't say wisdom because that's maybe too far, but it's a sort of understanding why you're doing it. I mean, why doesn't you do things different? And I got a sort of enlightenment. That's because you are in a position where you can't do different, something like that, right? So that leaves me stronger to guide you in a way, right? So I was in this kind of, despair over losing my son and all of this. And then I got like an enlightenment telling me it was almost like knocking me down in a sort of darkness that I don't know. I didn't know these kind of dark ways that you would maybe could maybe be seen as people in depress or abuse or people who don't know what to do with their life or their relations. And I got really surprised because I never had been there. And my own explanation is that I'm actually here as a sort of servant or something, that this light I have that always keep me up, that some people don't have it and then don't know it. And you can maybe help them, but that kind of being knocked down by this is what it is for some of the people, right? Was a kind of eye opener because it's like I usually say I have one wing, meaning I am half half. It's not like I'm fantasy. It's just it's a sort of illustration, right? Meaning that I have a kind of connection, spiritual. You could also say in yoga, you would say like a higher conscience or something, right? And that's one wing. I can't get away and I can't get stuck. I'm in a midway, in a way you could say. Meaning I can sometimes sense things, communicate. Uh, but I'm not down. I don't have the understanding of just being predator, just on drift or just on hunger or just on destruction. I don't have that. So it actually gave me enlightenment that some people are always in hunger, always in drift, always in a sort of destruction, and only that they simply don't know how to enlighten. So I got like a lesson that day because it was like getting knocked down, told that if you didn't have your illustrated one wing or your enlightenment, this is how it is. This is, you could almost, if you're Christian, you could say, I was in hell for a second, right? And I came back, and wiser, right? And just, yeah, that's maybe, if you're a Christian, it's maybe easier way to explain it. Whatever you have words for it, right? But just that being in seeing how people in hell feel, there is no light at all. So that's how I illustrate it. And another thing, after I had like, I think there was before my son was stolen, I knew we was in danger, and I went to the police to get help, and I called the Clinton, the emails and stuff, and we couldn't get through, right? And one of the days before, I felt like there was the danger was intensive. And one of the days, I talked to Alex and I said, like, we are in danger, because I try really to, not let him know that we were in danger. And I could see that it was maybe time to say something about it, because it got intense, right? And there was like, really, maybe this is because after I was almost dead, so it could be like an illustration or something, but I saw like a Gloria, and I remember that I said to him, I'm very glad I know you, and so on. So basically there was this kind of beautiful something before we were drifted apart by whether he's in a safe environment or he's not there at all, whatever, because the whole case handling is fraud because of economical crime and stuff. So I don't really know for true. I mean, there is some indication that something went even more wrong. But there was this kind of beautiful moment where we said, like, I really appreciate you. I'm really happy I know you. And that means a lot to me, that it was this kind of holy time in a way. And I still feel that he's here. And I have it the same way with the policeman. I was together with a policeman on a chart, and he was killed and I was wounded and so on. He's, I believe in saint, right? So if I'm in worry or if there's something dangerous, he will be here. And my son is also here. And sometimes if I work some case where there's a wounded person, a child, for example, I always like say, hey, it's a more, or you could call it, in psychology, you would probably call it a sort of healthy way of thinking about things, right? Whatever you call it. Could be religious, it could be psychology, it doesn't really matter. But I always, if I have some kind of interaction with a case where there's somebody badly wounded and been alone and in a sort of never cared for something, it could be a woman, man, child, I sometimes like, you can come with us. I mean, I'm here with all the angels. You can come with us. And it's actually good to think that way. You don't have to leave somebody in a circumstance that is not fair, So you sort of have them with you in a way, and if of course if they have family that needs them there, fine, but it's a sort of not discharging people that other people might have hurt. I hope you can use it for something, whatever you are, a psychologist or a priest or an imam or a yoga, probably the same thing,